Sumi?
Yeah, please.
Because I watched your demonstration.
Oh, okay.
What did you put beside Arabic gum?
A little bit. So I'm sure we will talk about this later, but I'm happy to say now.
All right.
I put a little bit of honey.
Honey?
Yeah, maple.
That's interesting.
So maple honey is used in Italian production of homemade watercolors. And I actually didn't know about this before starting researching on this, how to make sumi. And they say help with fluidity. But for me, it was more a concern about the mold, possibility. I use natural source water and I boil it before using it, but still I was a bit concerned. And so honey has all these property for preserving stuff. And I know I didn't really want to preserve my ink for a long time. I mean, I wanted to make it and use it like in 10 days or so, but I think, I don't know, I think it helped a little bit. So
okay, I think result of the prints was really good.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for this demonstration.
Well, but thanks, but I'm so well actually. If anybody has, while we wait for Roslyn, because I don't see Roslyn yet. Is she here? If anybody has questions about Goto sound, maybe some of them I can answer, or maybe Ruth, did you enjoy the demonstration? I know were the first time you watched them.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, can I just say before we get into the discussion, yes, I totally forgot, typical of me, to say thanks to everyone who organized the conference and for allowing me to be here. It's really, and I regret I wasn't there yesterday, but I just couldn't. I just wanted to thank, there's only the names I know: Keiko, Ralph, Jacqueline, Mara. I know that so many people have worked incredibly hard to put this thing together, and I really wanted to thank you. I only know half of it, so anyway,
thank you.
Yeah, so thanks to everyone behind the scenes and in front. Yeah, so yeah, the videos, these were the first time I'd seen them, Goto-san and Roslyn, and I thank you both. I think they were both unique uniquely wonderful each. And I was thinking how amazing it is that we now do have this possibility of having these video demonstrations and preserving them for future reference. I was reminded, yes, I used to knit a lot in the 1970s, and then I didn't knit. And then in the early 2000s, I started knitting again, and I realized I'd forgotten so much. And it was only when this was the start of finding a video online that was just so incredibly helpful, and just reading about this particular technique would not have helped me getting to grips with it so fast. So I think the knowledge is just tremendous, and one wouldn't get to this point only after loads and loads of experimenting. What I also find really fascinating is to see all the different possibilities that Roslyn presented in her wonderful video there. And that also, I think knowing how it should be done also allows one to find alternatives, you know, how to do it maybe not so well. I mean, I might be putting my foot in here, but I was thinking of Warhol's silkscreen prints that deliberately let the ink dry, etc., for a very particular effect. But I think in the first instance, it's wonderful actually to know how to do it properly, and the multiple, the tremendous variations that are entailed in that. And I think Roslyn's video put that across very much. So
I see Roslyn is here, but I also see Tula as a question. Maybe we can.
Tula. Hi, Tula. You're muted, Tula.
Yeah, mute yourself.
Sorry, no sign language. Okay, good morning and good evening, everybody. I was watching very carefully Goto-san's wrapping of baren with the bamboo, because that is, my biggest problem is always wrapping my baren. Here in Finland, it's very dry air, and especially in the winter, the bamboo sheet will always tear, and it becomes brittle when I keep it a long time. So, and also this folding, I do this about 2 times a year, but I never succeed like that. So there must be the question of the humidity. I do quite similar way, but not so many folds. I cannot get so many folds there, but it is still working. And one thing that I have used, because of the bamboo sheet gets very brittle, so after wrapping, I always oil it with camellia oil. And when it breaks, so there is a contemporary solution for a short time, just to put some sellotape over. So,
yeah.
So it keeps it for a moment, not permanently, but because it's hard to get those bamboo sheets here, and it's the dry air, so you have to keep it. I have tried also other things, but that is impossible to have a similar effect.
That's true, Tula, but you made a few very good points. First of all, Goto-san harvests his baren leaves by himself. He go once a year, he go to a wood around Osaka, I think. He stay there for 1 week in a tent, and he harvests the leaves by him that he will use for the year after. And I'm sure you all notice it, how lovely and clear the bamboo leaves he uses, because they are Japanese bamboo leaves harvested by himself. While when I buy stuff online, is always patchy, and all those patches are not really good because they break more easily. I remember he told us. Also, there is not in the demonstration, unfortunately, but I remember he told us he usually dampen first of all, he dampen more than 1 leaves at the time, because not all of them are good for wrapping, and one may break. So you take a couple of them, maybe 5 or 5 or 6. He put them under the water, and then he sort of wrap them in a damp towel, and wrap the damp towel with the bamboo leaves in a plastic bag, and he keep them overnight, or at least 2 hours. So the bamboo leaves will regenerate, but slowly. But I think it's magic, honestly, because
yes,
I think I watched him do this live 6 times now. And well, he also have a very large hands, so he can wrap the whole bamboo, and you keep the thing. Yeah, but most of all is magic.
Yes. And also, I just want to give a point about the inside, the cord. I have made my own cords, like from what is that, fishing line?
Oh, that's it.
So that is very hard. Also, kind of twisting regular cotton or linen thread, and then starch it very hard. Those are kind of a experimental baren. Also, I have used for that metal core. When there's a bathroom, there's a sink with the
I've seen it but done before. Yeah.
And it is really long. Like I think you need 5 meters or something for one baren. I was surprised to get to find that much. But wooden beads are not good. Plastic beads are not good. They break. But I suggest people to keep experimenting.
I think maybe Roslyn has an answer for this because
Yes.
you experiment with many
Yes.
baren in your video, Roslyn, and also you had your hand raised.
Yes.
Yes. And I think even if you have this effect or a kind of a special baren, handmade, your self-made baren, so it's good to have a good professional baren alongside. Of course, they cannot replace, but they are making interesting effects. So it's always good to have a variety of baren. To have home baren, it's the perfect choice, but it's very expensive. But whenever you have a birthday, you can ask from the community to buy you home baren. Goto-san will provide.
I used to ask to buy brushes, but next step. Roslyn.
Okay. Yeah. Any more questions there?
Is Roslyn has her hands?
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just wanted to make a response to dry weather conditions. And I don't know whether you can see, I've got a baren here that's starting to crack slightly. So something that I do is I collect pages from very old Japanese books. It's almost a combination of Gampi and kozo fiber, but it works as a Band-Aid. If you attach with either konnyaku paste or nori paste, the finest Japanese paper over the crack, it actually helps. And it's so strong and so useful. You can also, there is a trick in covering with konnyaku nori.
Oh,
it's a waterproofing agent. So it's something to experiment with. When the air conditions are so dry, you're helping lock in the moisture to the baren. But I'm always adding a little bit of a Band-Aid to my barens. And I have all of Goto-san's barens. He's ranged from 16 to 8, and I have his tetron string barens as well. So when I was living in Japan, I slowly collected my, I think, it's in about 1985, I bought my first baren from Mr. Goto at his home. But it's the maintenance that's a huge problem with humidity change. So that's my trick, is to use very old washi and put the Band-Aid across the crack just when it begins to start to crack. So that might help some people.
That's a very useful tip. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. So there are two more people. Andrew, I think first, and then Susanna. Yeah.
All right. Well, I wanted to mention a couple things. The first is, if you live in a place with a botanic garden, very often there'll be a bamboo patch in the botanic gardens. And I collect bamboo culms, the leaves in the spring, actually from my garden, because we have bamboo patch in the garden that's about 200 years old. And a bamboo patch with bamboo shoots that are about 3 inches in diameter will give a culm that will cover a 12-centimeter baren. And you can go in the spring and every node drops a leaf, and you can go with the shopping bag. You're not cutting down the bamboo. And I usually collect a couple, shopping bags full of bamboo leaves every spring. And if you have a lot, you're a little bit less reticent to try and change them when they start to split. Because one of the always concerns I had in the beginning when I was buying them from Japan was I only had 3 left. And if I split 2, and then I'm down to my last one, and then what am I going to do? But once you have a bag full, you're much more likely to go ahead and change it when you know you've got, 50. I've also made alternative barens using hemp twine and hemp cord, twisting it much the way that Koto-san does, or with a drill and just spinning it on itself. And hemp cord hardened with PVA glue will give you a very hard coil. And if you use kite string, you get a fine baren. If you use thicker hemp twine, you can get a coarser baren. And you can make a backing disc with cardboard that's then coated with Japanese paper to strengthen it. So the key to changing the baren leaf Takenagawa is just doing it a lot. And the key to that is having them at hand. I live in Florence, so it's very humid in the winter and dry in the summer, or vice versa. And I have the same problem with splitting leaves when it's dry, but I keep them in a damp place and they keep for a couple of years.
Okay, great. Does somebody, either Roslyn or Susanna, do you want to respond directly to something that's been said, or is it a new point?
No, I'd just like to respond. Oh,
go ahead.
You go.
Okay.
You wanted to Well, Susanna, if Roslyn wants to respond directly.
Yeah, go ahead,
Can I-
Roslyn.
I just want to reflect on the teachings I had back at the Gay Day from some traditional printers, and their preparation for the take was to wrap it in a damp, just a minimally damp cloth, and blow through it. The humidity of the breath and the warmth of the breath, so not to over moisten the take. It's this very minimal moisture and humidity, warmth and humidity, so that it's not stretching too much, so that when it wraps, it's not trying to shrink back too much. So a lot of people over moisten the take and end up with this dramatic shrinkage and the introduction of cracking. So just be careful not to dampen it too much. It's just got to be pliable and soft to manipulate, but not too wet. Otherwise, yes, you will have it splitting and cracking always. So that was just a point.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. So Susanna, do you want to go next, and then Jacqueline?
Thank you. The first question I had was, I wondered if anybody knew what the non-slip powder was made of that Goto used. He mentioned he sprinkled something before he started wrapping it up.
Yeah, he's got a mixture of, I think it's zinc pigment and glycerin. It's the same thing he uses when he's twisting the bamboo fibers to make the coil of the shin. It's a zinc pigment and glycerin. I've used also the hand cream, barrier cream that you can get. There's a barrier cream you can use. Somebody makes a barrier cream to protect your hands before using oil-based inks. And that's also probably a zinc pigment based.
Okay.
I haven't tried the stuff you put in your nose before going to the beach, which is zinc based, but that would probably work also.
Cool.
You want something that makes your fingers just a little bit tacky, because the oil in the skin combined with the lucidity, the shininess of the baren of the bamboo leaf makes it very difficult to pleat.
Thank you. The next question I had was, I was curious about the bamboo sheaths, like accessing them. The only place in the US I know of is McLean's, and I don't have any idea in terms of how they compare, like for quality, and if anybody knows where else you can purchase them, if they've had good luck with like regular even fiber in the bamboo, recommend, or references for where to get the bamboo sheaths in the first place.
I think would like Matsumura in Japan sells them. I don't know how's the situation with shipping at the moment. And probably for people living in the US, McLean's is definitely better. Besides, Woodlike doesn't have the good quality sheets Goto-san uses. And I'll also put it out there, I'm not 100% sure, but I know sometimes Goto-san rewraps his own baren for, for a cost. So you could ship it to him and he will do it for you and ship it back. I don't know how much it costs, I don't know how long it takes, and I don't know if it's possible now with coronavirus. I know some people have done in the past, so maybe a good...
Excuse me. Hello.
Yeah.
Hello. I think the Goto-san sheet of bamboo is white bamboo. Is different than the other bamboo, and is very, very thin.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then
Andrew, maybe because you've got experience with using non-Japanese, not non-Goto-sans.
I have two patches within a mile of myself that look the same but aren't the same. They have different thicknesses. They both can be used. You can also find online, if you Google bamboo skins, you can find packs of 100 from China.
You can go to the website of Goto-san, and you can buy some sheet of bamboo.
The ones he's selling to make the shins are very expensive, whereas the ones he sells for covering are Chinese bamboo and are different and are cheaper. And you can definitely get that. His quality is wonderful. But again, if you live in California, you will find there are botanic gardens where you can go with a shopping bag and just let them know you'll clean up for them, and you can come out with a garbage bag full of bamboo culms in the spring. Just you have to be careful because the timber bamboo is huge and is very thick and not usable. You need a bamboo that'll send up shoots that are about 2 to 3 inches in diameter, because the circumference of that will be generally wide enough that when you wet it and spread it out, will allow you to cover like 11.5 to a 12.5 centimeter baren. If your barens are bigger than that, if it's 13 centimeters, you need to look for shoots that are thicker and then collect the leaves that are under those.
We have a couple more questions, and
Yeah,
I
was
will have
just-
to move to the next.
No worries, Mara. No, I was just wondering whether from the community, there's a big group of people listening, whether anybody else has experience comparable to Andrew's in terms of coming by bamboo, by visiting, if you're lucky, a botanic garden. Is there anybody else maybe? No? Well, you're Jacqueline, you're next anyway.
Yeah, I haven't tried any experiments with bamboo or anything else, but that's really interesting listening to Andrew, because yeah, we do have a lot of bamboo here. We've probably got it in the botanical gardens, but people also have it in their gardens, and we also find it out bush. So yeah, that's really great information, Andrew. My original question though was, over the years I've worked with Indigenous artists and also artists in Southeast Asia, and quite often they ask me if they could make a bamboo from banana sheaths, which is something I've never tried, probably because I'm not so interested, but I wonder, is there anyone any experience of that, or is it just you know, a no-no? So
yeah, can I just come very briefly as a non-expert in this area? I was wondering to which extent the bamboo is absolutely instrumental, and so exactly the same question, whether there are people who have experimented with other materials for the wrapping. And then we'll get to Maria and Tula again. Yeah.
I'm really sorry, Ruth. I think we are running a little bit out of time, so I wouldn't. Yeah, actually, we are 5 minutes late for the next presentation, but that's fine. I think we can take a couple
for the next presentation.
Yeah, it should. It was.
Oh, that's yours. Oh, okay. Ago. I'm sorry, I didn't have that on my radar. That we have more demonstrations. I'm so sorry.
I'm so sorry. There's not so much time for us, all the questions that people have. Maybe we can take a couple of them and be a little bit late, and probably the next Q&A will overlap with lunch. And I think it's going to be fine, but I'm afraid we cannot take them all.
Okay, but should we maybe collect them and then maybe come back to them later? Is
well,
that
you know, so now it's going to be mine and Jacqueline demonstration, and there are 14 minutes each, and then we will have Q&A, and then lunch. And we can wrap everything together, and maybe we can get back to all your questions. And for this demonstration, please don't go away. And we will also have some, if there are any.
Can I have just a quick question? A quick question to Roslyn. How to maintain the bearing baren, the ball baren, the metal? So do you put oil or somehow, because sometimes people get smudgy? So how do you maintain, keep it in good condition? So I have got Roslyn Kean baren here, 2 or 3, and my students are using them, and they are not always very clean. So I want to maintain them, keep them well. Is Roslyn there?
Roslyn, you are.
Yes. Okay, so when I use my baren, I always use a piece of baking paper at the back of the print to help lubricate the natural lubrication of the ball. And I clean the barens with eucalyptus oil or eucalyptus spray for cleaning the baren. But if you use a ball bearing baren directly on the back of the paper, you will attract fibers from the paper and slowly clog it up. So it's always better to have the thin baking paper or something with a little bit of oil between the balls and the washi. And I
Yes,
just
that
really
is,
quickly wanted
yeah.
to say,
Okay. I
Yes.
think,
and this
sorry
is a baren.
to barge in here, can we maybe hold this? This is going to turn into a discussion. I
Yeah.
can see it. And I'm sorry, Maria, you haven't had a chance. So we will come back at the end of the